Hey guys, it's Jack Punkington, and I'm here today to talk about a very controversial um, recording equipment, amp, guitar company slash amp company, just electronic studio products. And the reason why I say it's controversial is because it's a lot of like hit or miss stuff. You know, a lot of people like it and a lot of people hate it. And when it comes to certain things, I don't like this company, and when it comes to certain things, I do like this company. So what I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk about two products today, but I can show you at least one. This is the foot switch. It's to the Line 6 Pod .20. I have the foot switch. I have the carrying case and the pod itself. I just got this today for free. My grandpa, had it. He was using it. And I got a chance to try it out before. Back a couple months ago. Give you guys like a good sweeper shot of it. And I thought it was interesting because I am a big time fan of SMG videos. You know, I love Glenn's videos. And I don't like Line 6. They're just not my amp company. And when I watched his video where he talked about the Spider, and in that he talks about this when it first came out and how horrible it was. And for recording purposes, I agree. It wouldn't be something, that like you could have, like a PV Triple X has way better distortion than this. But I am going to say that I don't fully agree with him about this. But that's just my opinion, I do like this. I like the pod, and this is the reason. I don't play a lot of shows anymore, but when I did, there was a coffee shop, I would take my pedal board and just use that because it has amp sims in it, which is my Boss ME70. And I wish I had this because I could plug this into the PA and I could get any tone I wanted. And that's what it'd be perfect for, in my opinion, or guys who are just starting out. And, for me, the fact that I got it free, you can't beat that. And it's not bad. I did try it out today, and I'm going to do a review of it later down the road. But it sounds actually pretty cool, and I got some really cool tones out of it. And the reason why I want to talk about Line 6 is because my roommate, Chris, who is sleeping, he uses Line 6 primarily. That's his amp of choice. He's got a Line 6 Spider 2. Just the 1x12 combo. And it's not a bad amp. For what he uses and what he likes, that's how he sounds. Or that's what he likes. We've talked about him getting a head because he has more room now since he lives here. And I feel like it would be the next step for him, and I think he should get a half stack or like a head in a 2x12 or a head in a 1x12. Personally, I think a head in a 4x12 would be the best thing for him. And he told me that he wanted to see if there was any Line 6 stuff, and I told him there was. And I actually found one for sale that's very affordable. It's a Line 6 Spider 3 or 4 100 watt head or 75 watt head, one of the two. And then there's a Line 6 cab with it, I think. I can't remember. And it was like $200 with the cab, and I was like, you should get that. The reason why Line 6 is very controversial is because a lot of it's all computerized. There are tube versions of Line 6, which I have heard, which actually sound pretty interesting. And a lot of people don't like it, and a lot of people do. And I think if you like it, that's all that matters, I think this sounds cool. I think this is a really cool tool that I could use. I could put this in with me if I go gigging and say my Triple X just blows up or something. Knock on wood that it never happens, but if it did, I would have this with me, and I could just plug this into like their PA or my cabinet, I think, or something. And boom, bam, we got something going. Now, like I said, if you're gonna go for like a gigging thing, I definitely recommend getting a real amp head and a real combo over something like this. But if all you can afford is something like this, you can get them pretty cheap now. I think they just the pod itself, not the power supply, not the foot switch, not the case. The pod itself goes for about $80 now. The pod 2, and with the case and everything, I think you can get them for about, with the pedal, I think it's like almost $200, because the pedal is kind of expensive. It's a 4-channel pedal. It also, you can program it so one channel is completely different from the other, and you can swap in between them. The pod also, comes with all these cool like amp sims and effects, tuners, noise gates, everything. And I tried it out, and I was actually impressed. And Chris's Spider has a lot of like built-in effects and stuff. And I think what people don't understand when Line 6 gets all the hate, it's the fact that like people choose Line 6 because they can't afford a lot. Now you could argue like, well, if you have like $100 to spend on a head, why not buy a Marshall MG? Line 6 kind of gives the computerized distortion that a lot of people like. If in their opinion, if that's all they can afford and it's available, they're probably gonna buy it. If I had a choice between a Marshall MG and a Line 6 Spider 3 head, there's a better chance I'd go with the Line 6 Spider 3 due to the fact that it'd be way more versatile and I could get better tones out of it. Don't get me wrong, the MG head's pretty good, but I've had an MG head and I've played through a Line 6 head, so, I've kind of got a comparison for both. But it's all hit or miss. But I think Line 6 gets too much hate for what it is, but at the same time, I don't think it should be overly praised. And I think more people should embrace it. I've even thought about getting a Line 6 Spider 3 head for a backup head. Because solid state head, the advantage of having a solid state head, that's why I love this Fender, that and the memories I have with it, is that you can plug them in and out, you can turn them right on and off. You can gig with them like crazy, and they will take abuse way better than a tube head will, but a tube bed will always sound better. So if you can take care of it, it's always going to sound probably better. But if you don't have a lot of money, and you're starting to like jam with some friends, and you're starting a band, and you want to get something, if you can find a Line 6 Spider head, I think, you should. Or if you got a Line 6 combo, hey, if you like it and that's all you can afford right now, that's fine. I think that's perfect for beginner bands. If you just had the Line 6, if you had the Line 6 Spider head, cabinet, and the foot switch, you'd be golden if you were a beginner, because that gives you tons of different effects and stuff, and it's basically an amp with a built-in pedal board, and I think for beginners it's perfect. I can't recommend it if you have more money and you can go out and buy other equipment and stuff. But if you're a beginner, or if you're a parent and you're looking for your son or daughter, and say they've got a combo but they want to get a half stack, I highly recommend, if they're starting out and they're in bands and stuff, get them the Line 6 Spider head, and cabinet and foot switch. Make sure to get the foot switch, because you can't really beat that deal, and it doesn't sound half bad. So, like I said, if you like what you like, that's awesome. This is Jack Punkington signing out. Peace, guys. There'll be a review of the Line 6 pod soon, and an update on my American Fender. See you guys later. Bye.